Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Manxiety Podcast.
We're your hosts, Ashad and Matt. Before we get started, if you're enjoying this show, please subscribe so you can get notified of new episodes.
If you want to share this with your friends, you can find us on all podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Manxiety Podcast. It feels really weird to be doing this intro still and not the Therapy Thursday. I was like, is it Thursday? What's today? What are we doing? Like, what's it?
You'll get used to it, man. We've talked about habits before. I think once we get to 2 weeks, well, I guess it doesn't really work that way, because we only record once a week. Once we get to the 14th episode of you starting it, I think it'll feel more normal.
Is that what it is now? It's going to take, is it 14 days to make a habit?
Isn't that what it was? I always thought it was 2 weeks to make. Maybe it was longer. I thought it was
Maybe
2
that's
weeks.
for you because you're disciplined as fuck, bro. Out here doing shit, changing your life in 14 days, bro. Building a back porch and retiling everything. And
I don't know about changing my
house.
life, man. It's just, I don't know. When you do something every day for 14 days, I feel like it kind of sticks.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
Probably. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they always change the number. It's like eggs. Eggs are healthy. 1 decade, the next they're unhealthy, the next it's good cholesterol versus bad. It's like, who the fuck knows, man? Habits, it's like, do a habit in 5 days, 6, it's like what's it, that shit, like 6-second abs or whatever, there's some movie where they're like, well,
videos
bro, I
or
came
whatever
up with 5-second abs to undercut it, so it's like, start a habit in 5 hours instead of 14 days. Yeah, 5 hours. Yeah, habit, go. That's basically what we're going to be.
It sounds like you're advertising Habit Burger.
No, but Habit Go is our new sponsor. What's up? I don't own the domain, but Habit Go.
Habit Go?
I don't know. I just made it up.
Okay,
it's
just like you made up that word
sponsor.
last week.
Guilt shaming.
Yeah,
or guilt keeping. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I make up a lot of things. Usually, it's conversations in my head.
You do.
Anyways,
are they ever with your imaginary friends?
No,
I'm just kidding. You don't have imaginary friends either, do you?
I don't have real ones or imaginary ones.
I'm just kidding.
So this week, let me start off with what the topic will be. I mean, obviously, again, you've seen the episode title, so you know that it's going to be disconnected. And how
you don't want to talk about your week first?
Disconnected from the world. Well, I just
we're changing things up again, Matt. Actually,
no.
Fine.
I just wanted to say what it was, and then we'll talk about our weeks. Because last week you shamed me. You're like, "Oh, bro, why are you saying this after guilt, guilt?" And I was just like, "Bro, we're talking about guilt keeping, and you're over here trying to guilt keep me, bro." I sound like a parrot when I do that, bro.
A little bit. No, I was reading this thing about how most resolutions fail within the first 2 weeks, right? So then people were saying, don't let that happen to you. Like, even if you failed within those 2 weeks, pick it up again now. Like, those 2 weeks are done, you failed, it's fine. Start another resolution, or start your resolution again today and see how long you'll go. Because maybe this time you go 3 weeks, and then you do the same thing again next time, and then you go 4 weeks, and then 5 weeks, and then, eventually, hopefully, it sticks, right? Becomes a habit, and you don't stop doing it. It becomes an actual resolution for the whole year.
Yeah, I see it as kind of a ratio game. If you do 2 weeks and you stop, you've done 2 weeks out of 52, right? It's a pretty low percentage overall. But if you do 2 weeks, you take a break for a day or two, do another 2 weeks, right? Take a break for a day or two, you just fall off, like if that's where you're naturally hitting your cliff. Do another 2 weeks, another 2 weeks, another 2 weeks. Next thing you're going to know, you've actually done, 35 to 40 weeks out of the year of being on this habit and not letting yourself get deterred from that massive goal of 1 year of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Because it happened to me where I missed a day of meditating. I was really busy at work, was hanging out with friends, doing stuff, whatever. And then just like got home and like didn't think about it, went to bed, woke up the next morning, was like, fuck, I broke my streak. But instead of going, oh, you dummy, you're so dumb, why didn't you do that? I was just like, okay, well, today's day 1, but like, it's going to, I was on day, 12, now it's going to be day 1, but that's okay, right? It's like, I'll still try to get to 12. Let me try and beat that record and keep going.
No, definitely. That kind of reminds me of Snapchat streaks. Because me and one of my friends got one going on, and I think we'd gotten to like 200 or something at one point. Like, it was almost a year. and then I just forgot, and I didn't do it for a day, and we lost it. But then we just started again, and I keep forgetting. We've never gotten that far again, but I try my best. Anytime I forget, the next day I'm just sending another snap out.
This reminds me of when you've spoken in the past about journaling. How when you go back and you open up your journal, you see a journal entry that says, I haven't journaled in 6 months. I'm going to start anew. I really want to, it's like some like happy moment you had. And then you're like, that was 6 months ago. And then today you're like, I saw my journal entry from 6 months ago. Today is a new day. I'm going to be consistent. And then every 6 months you have like a little check-in.
I mean,
okay.
maybe my journaling habit is journaling every 6 months. It can happen.
Yeah, it's just like what your internal clock is wired to. 6 months, you just pick up a pen and go, well, I got to do something with this guy, and start writing.
That's funny. So how's your week, Matt?
My week was great. Do you want to start off with your week first?
Sure. You want to change things up again on these people?
Yeah, let's keep everybody on their toes, everybody.
Yeah, my week was pretty damn good, man. I did not work on the house. I know, big change. I decided to take a week off and not do any house related stuff. I had a really good conversation with my dad, who I don't usually have conversations with, I internalize a lot. So I think it was just an overall good conversation. I mean, I was able to share my thoughts, share my feelings, which I don't usually do. And I feel like most guys don't really, I don't know, it's kind of, frowned upon, or we just maybe don't do it for one reason or another. But I was able to do that. So that went really well. Decided to make some marmalade from my grapefruit tree. So spent maybe 5-6 hours on Monday, which was a day off, trying to make marmalade, which unfortunately came out kind of runny. But now I know for next time, next time I'll change things up a little bit and make it a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, my week, again, it's been a pretty good week. It's been relaxing. I've been able to go on some runs. I've been focusing a little bit more on my meds, trying to get enough sleep, trying to eat a good diet, get my exercises in, and do, again, my meditations. I think I've done maybe like 1 or 2 formal meditations this week, but I do try to be more present sort of throughout the day. I do breathing exercise throughout the day just to center myself, from one moment to the next. Yeah, man. Overall good week. How's your week?
Also pretty great. I got to see some friends this weekend. Went to a beach bonfire. A couple of days later, my throat was a little scratchy.
Dun dun dun.
I was worried. I was talking to a shot, and I was like, I don't know, dude, it could be COVID. I got no fucking clue. Tested this morning on my at-home kit. It was negative. My throat felt a lot better, and I was like, huh, dummy, it's probably because you were at a bonfire, and you were breathing in smoke all freaking night, and your voice is just a little raspy. Also because at work, as I mentioned, I'm leaving to another role at a different company. I've been talking nonstop with everybody because I'm transitioning some of my clients over and all this stuff. And I talk a lot on this podcast, certainly. People know me as the talker. It was too much for me.
I was about to say, how is that different from any other day? Because don't you just always talk?
I have a lot of downtime.
Interesting.
I'm working on other stuff. Like, I'll be in between meetings doing stuff, but just having to run 7 hours worth of meetings in a row.
Yeah.
My voice is like, can we please stop, good sir? Have a lozenge.
It also just wears you down, man. Just being in one meeting after another. By the third meeting, you're just dreading it already.
Yeah, and just the mental energy that it takes to just sit there and be like, all right, let me talk about this thing and this. And I'm also terrible at goodbyes. When I was telling some of the clients, they'd be getting new account managers. It's just like, oh, yeah. They're like, oh my God, I'm going to miss you, all this stuff. And I was like, I don't know what to say here.
I'll miss you too.
I mean, I did, but it was like, you can add me on LinkedIn or something. I don't know. We can stay friends.
See, you got to do it like my account
protocol is.
manager did it, man. There's a vendor that I'm working with. We buy one of their products for my company, and he hit me up maybe about 2-3 weeks ago, and he was like, "Hey, I'm going to be transitioning away from being your account manager, moving over to a new role. Do you want to talk about a possible renewal? Because our renewal is coming up in a couple of months." He's like, "Do you want to talk about a possible early renewal? And because I'm leaving, I'll make it worth your while, right?" So I'm like, "All right, cool, let's do it." So sit down with him, talk about a renewal, and I mean, he's just giving me these like out of these world rates that are significantly less than what we're paying now. And are going to be much less than what we would be paying later. Because usually, if you have a product or service, year after year, they'll upcharge you because prices of things go up. So you're not going to be getting the same rate that you were getting last year. But yeah, I mean, he did it the right way. He's leaving his role. He's transitioned me off, but he's also taking care of me and closing this really good deal.
It'd be really funny if that was just his tactic to get you to renew, and then like he shows up, he's like, "Still your account manager." Like, "Hey, what's up?"
That would be pretty funny. But then I would cancel the
But
contract.
no, definitely not. If he was giving me that good,
I got to write some fine print on the contract that says, if you end up staying as our account manager, this contract is nullified.
There you go. Yeah, little sales technique, right? Like when I was telling my customers, I was switching. Like, let me like give feedback and all this stuff. Oh, like that's nice of you, right? And then some of them were joking, like, "Can I give you like really bad feedback and make you like look bad?" And I was like, "I don't care what you do. Like, it's not gonna matter.
Not gonna be
But
here
they were
anymore."
like, yeah, they're just like, "Oh, like, what if I just say something like I don't know, something outrageous?" I was like, I mean, if I'm here, I'll see it. But again, like, you can do whatever you want, man. Like, I don't know, like, have fun with it, certainly. But they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna give them like a 1 star and be like, how dare they not pay you $1 million to stay on or something?" And I was like, that would be funny. They're gonna think I told you to say that. Like, that's not. They're gonna be like, "What?"
That's hilarious. Imagine all of your clients just start doing that.
Yeah, that's that'd be a nice little confidence booster. But nah, I don't think they're gonna do anything crazy like that. But I've built a lot of fun relationships with them, so it does suck to say goodbye, and saying like bye to my team members and stuff as well. And in one of our team meetings, I used actually I'll be quick. I used a stoic exercise about like the negative visualization stuff, the one that I like doing, which is the last time that you do anything. So I was explaining a little bit about stoicism with them, and then also what the exercise is, and then saying like, this is the last time we're going to have a team meeting in this iteration of the team, right? Because if, it leaves the door open for like, oh, if I ever come back or whatever, like the team will be different, right? People will be different at that point. And it was just like, because of that, just really hold on to those moments and treat them as special, because it could be the last time that you're doing this thing as well. And you don't know until it is the last time, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you get into a car accident and you become a quadriplegic and you knew that was going to happen like in 5 years, you'd be really appreciative of walking and running and going up the stairs and things like that, right? But once it's gone, maybe gone forever, and then it's really tough to deal with, So if you're at home, think about that. What if this is the last time you were tuning into the Manxiety podcast? What if this is our last episode? Or what if this is, I don't know, whatever happened to you or us or whatever? You'd really want to pay attention, right? You'd want to leave us 5 stars. You'd give us a like. You'd tell your friends. All those things that we hope you're doing. I mean, we've been growing. We hope that you're a part of that if you like us and you're listening. But yeah, all jokes aside, it was a good time with my coworkers. It was good overall, and I'm just really excited for this year and the changes and everything else. And yeah, just a good week overall. I have nothing to really complain about.
That's awesome.
Except for potentially thinking my throat had COVID or something. But
there's a sort of going off what you were saying about your team, and it's not going to be the same team. Sort of this is the last meeting with this team in this moment. There's a really good quote by Heraclitus. Anyway, he was one of the old Stoics. And the quote goes, "A man cannot step into the same river twice, because it is not the same river and he is not the same man."
Why didn't you tell me this like 6 hours ago? I could have let the team. I could have ended on that.
Email them. Email them. Just go like, hey,
bombshell.
just a quick follow up to our meeting. Here's a really great quote by Heraclides, and then you just bam, or you record yourself saying it.
Oh shit! Like I pretend it's mine. Little.
No, you gotta make your voice like Heraclides is.
Is it? What does his voice sound like? Is it like Christian Bale and Batman?
Dude, I have no clue.
A man cannot walk into a river twice, for the river is different, and so is the man.
There you go.
I butchered it.
There you go. Well, it's good to hear, man. It's good to hear you had a good week. So, like you mentioned, today's topic is disconnected, and sort of what brought about the topic for today is, as many of you have heard, there was a volcanic eruption near Tonga. And basically what happened is, volcano erupted. Here in Southern California, we got some tsunami warnings. Hawaii, I think, got some tsunami warnings. Different parts of sort of beach towns that were close to it got some of them. But one of the bigger effects that this eruption had is that, I don't want to say effects. So I guess let me talk about the outcome, and I'll talk about sort of what happened. So as of right now, the people of Tonga, right, have no access to really the outside world. And the reason for that is because, I don't know if many of you know this, but the way that the internet works, right, everyone just thinks it kind of just works. But in reality,
I thought it was just in the cloud.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think. The clouds do not transfer the data between everything.
Wait, so when it rains, I don't lose data?
No, you do. If you go outside when it's raining and you stick your tongue out, you'll just gain all the knowledge that's coming from the rain. You're downloading kilobytes of data as the rain is coming down.
That'd be a dope way to learn. This is some Matrix shit.
That is totally not true, and I have something funny to talk about that too, because I just read something. But no, the way the internet works, right, is everything is wired to each other. People don't really think about this very much because you're on Wi-Fi, you're using cellular phones, you're doing all this stuff, and no one really thinks about how you're able to talk to someone from here in the other side of the world, or how you're able to send emails there, or watch videos there, or whatever it is. But the whole backbone of the internet is wires, right? So within your own country, there's literal thousands and thousands and thousands of miles of wires connecting you to everyone else around you. And then from one country to the next, there are underwater cables that run across the Atlantic that connect countries to each other via the internet. And again, people don't usually think about this, but there's literal wiring going from the United States over to Europe across the ocean. And it's all within the ocean. So what happened with Tonga is there was a single wire that goes to Tonga because it's an island. They didn't have any other connections. And due to the eruption, that wire was cut, right? So when that wire got cut, all internet connectivity to and from Tonga was also cut. Now, there are ways of reaching people in Tonga, right? There's satellite phones. There's maybe a couple of other ways that we can reach them and talk to them, but most of the people there and most of the people here don't really have a stable and consistent connection to the people and, to each other. And so what brought this, that was sort of the inspiration for this topic. But then when we talked a little bit about it, we realized that, this happens sometimes to us in the age we live in now, where everything is so connected and we're always connected to each other and to the world. When you go somewhere and you don't have cell service, right? I know that for a couple of years ago, when I hadn't really been anywhere like that for a while, the first time I went, I didn't have cell service, I kind of freaked out. I had a little bit of anxiety because I'm like, well, what happens if there's an emergency, right? I can't call 911. Like there's no cell service. Now, for people out there that don't know this, if you ever dial 911 on your phone, it'll find any cellular connection and it'll try to connect you. So if you have Verizon and you don't have service, but there's an AT&T, cell tower nearby, your 911 call will still go through. So just keep that in mind. But there are instances where you're just completely away from everything. There's literally nothing around you, no cell towers, no nothing. And it can be scary, right? That was the first thought I had was, what if something happens? How do I dial 911? How do I get emergency help? And it's because we live in this connected world all the time and in kind of this bubble where not having a connection, a cellular connection or a Wi-Fi connection or whatever, makes us feel this way. And a lot of people, I see this with sort of people my age, now people older than us. The only person I don't see this with is my grandpa. And he has a cell phone that he maybe makes a call once or twice every now and then, but he is not connected to anything. Like, the man just goes on walks. That's what he enjoys doing, and reading the newspaper. But, there are many people like him. Like, he can sit in quiet and just not do anything, think. And I catch myself doing this sometimes where, like, I don't have anything going on, and my natural instinct is, like, take out my phone and open up Instagram, open up, Twitter, open up Reddit, check this or check that, or look something up, whatever it is. And we don't give ourselves any time to just be quiet and to sit with our thoughts. So yeah, again, the first time sort of that I hadn't done that in a while, had some anxiety. I was, what am I going to do? But after that initial thing passes of like, why do I need help? I mean, if there's an emergency, there's other people around me. Someone can rush. Even if there wasn't, I'm prepared. I know how to survive. I've taken, outdoor survival or whatever it is. I have a car. I can drive myself somewhere, whatever it may be. You start realizing that, you're not really stuck, that you can take care of yourself. And now I look for that, right? Like I enjoy, we were talking about like hunting. I enjoy going hunting. I enjoy going camping and disconnecting, even though technically, right, my phone is still there. I probably still have cell service. I usually just leave my phone, away, or I put it into airplane mode or whatever it is. And I try to just be in the moment where I am sort of in nature, or if I'm fishing or if I'm hunting or whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, I think you brought up a really good point. It's that you enjoy disconnecting, but not being disconnected.
Right.
Right. One is kind of a more permanent aspect, like we're seeing with Tonga, where it's like they're disconnected from the internet. It's not connected. They're not choosing to go on a walk and look at the sunset and go on a beautiful hike or something, right? They've been disconnected from it. It's less of a choice sometimes, right?
That's what I was about to say. One's a choice and the other one is forced, I guess, or
yeah, it's kind of
situation,
forced, or maybe more abrupt, situational too as well, right? Because we talk a lot about how social media can cause anxiety, right? Being hyper connected can be a bad thing, and part of that feeds into being disconnected as well, because when you're disconnected, now our brains are wired to look for that dopamine hit and say like, well, let me check my messages, let me do this. Now I know I get stuck in that like loop if I'm like, okay, let me check Instagram, okay, let me check Facebook, let me check LinkedIn, let me check my text messages, which obviously aren't lit up either, right? It's just like, let me just like like cycle through like 3 or 4 different apps, and then it's like, well, obviously if you got a notification, it would come through. Why are you checking this? Like, what are you doing, right? So being truly disconnected, because in the case of your grandpa, I wonder if he would feel more disconnected if he didn't have a newspaper, because you were saying he likes reading the newspaper as well, right? That's how like he gets the news and stuff. So it's like if you had no newspaper and nothing, yeah, you still go on walks, but then like where are you getting that new information and learning new things? And that's what our brains are kind of wired to do.
He doesn't care. He's from a different generation. If he doesn't have a newspaper, he'll just read a book. If he doesn't have a book, he'll just, I don't know, watch the grass grow. Like, he's very much, he doesn't need any of that stuff.
Good. Yeah, because I mean, like, a form of connection is like reading a book too, right? In a sense, you're reading somebody else's words and stuff, right? And like, there's still like levels of connectedness, but in the example of just not having cell service, that could be scary because, you know, like Ashad said, like, what if you got to call 911?
Right.
Then what do you do, right? And then also being hyper disconnected too with stuff like COVID, right? If you didn't see your friends and you were locked down and kind of being safe and all that stuff, and now you haven't seen people in a while, now you're too disconnected from them. And you're like, how do I remake that connection? How do I be social again? What do I say? What do I do, right? How do I not be awkward? Well, the good news is everybody's going to be fucking awkward. So don't worry too much about that one. But it's definitely interesting seeing the extremes between hyperconnectivity and then complete disconnection.
Right.
Right. And how both of those extremes can cause a lot of anxiety in us. And then we kind of want to have that middle point where you're doing things like Ashad said, where you're being in the present moment, taking time for yourself and trying not to focus on, oh my God, what's new on this, or who's talking about this, or what's going on this social media site, right? We know it's tough because they're designed to make us addicted. Right? That's the business model. More clicks, more likes, more views, more whatever.
Yep.
But yeah, having nothing can also be really scary, right? What are you going to do for laughs? You know, if you can't watch memes and random TikTok videos or whatever, what would you do? I don't know. What would you do?
I mean, I don't like TikTok.
Well, you'd probably go take a walk or go hunting. You actually have hobbies.
Yeah, I personally hate TikTok. It's like a black hole, man. It just sucks you in. Like, my wife will send me stuff every now and then on TikTok, and I have the app, right? Because, you know, she does stuff on TikTok, and I want to support her. But she'll send me stuff sometimes, and I'll literally open up the thing she sent, right? I'll watch it, and another video will come, and I'll start watching it, and then another one, and by the time I look up from that one video, it's been like 30 minutes. And I'm just like, what the hell just happened? Like, it literally just sucks you in. So I have fight hard. Like, if I have a video that I need to watch, I literally watch the video, and then I won't even let it like go to the next. I'll just close the app as soon as that video is done. You know, don't want the other videos to tempt me.
Yeah, dude, it's the world of autoplay.
Yeah.
Right? When Netflix came up with that, where they were like, I think they were the first to, you know, hey, you watched an episode, we're going to autoplay the next one in 10 seconds. You know, you don't have to get up, you don't have to press a button, just lay on the couch, next one's coming. And you're just like, all right, I guess I'll watch the next 6 seasons of Friends. Okay. All right, sure. Right? You know, next thing you know, it's been like 4 days, you haven't showered, you're like, where the fuck am I? You know?
No food, no water.
Yeah, dude.
Speaking of being disconnected, there's this island that maybe we mentioned it once on the podcast before, called North Sentinel Island, and no one on that island that island has never been touched by the modern world, right? So they know nothing about modern technology, about the outside world, about any kind of advanced technology. They're literally like secluded from everything. And apparently anytime anyone tries to approach the island, the villagers will start throwing spears at them. But it's I guess it's considered a, what do they call it? Forbidden island, where no one is allowed to visit this island.
Interesting, because that's where that the guy died.
Yeah,
I think they shot him with arrows and stuff because he was trying to bring Christianity or something to the island to save them.
Yeah, something like that.
And then they ruled that like nobody's ever allowed to go there because it's like they're not gonna understand. It would be like unplugging from the Matrix.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Fucking crazy. Because you imagine like just with the Matrix analogy, right? If there's like some deeper whatever, if there's like more, because, you know, I mean, I'm not super well traveled, right? Like, I only know where the fuck I've been. It's like, oh, the ocean is actually 16 times larger than we thought it was, and there's like all these other islands and shit that we've never explored, and, you know, it's just like, fuck.
Well, the depths of the ocean have, I think we've only explored like 10% or something of the ocean.
Yeah, because it's too pressurized, right?
Yeah, I think too pressurized is just massive, right? Like, no one's ever really explored that much, but they're finding new stuff sort of all the time. in the ocean, and just it's pretty crazy. I know a lot of people are like trying to explore space, and like that is just, we're like, a speck of dust in like the vastness of the universe. Like we're like a speck of dust that's traveling around like the galaxy. Like just imagine like to that scale. But yeah, I mean, even our oceans, like they haven't been really completely
I
explored
know,
yet either.
bro. People are trying to explore space, the oceans. I'm out here trying to explore downtown in my city. I'm out here trying to just get out of the house and like take a walk. Like go, oh look, there's some bushes near where I park my car. Cool.
True. But I think jumping back into sort of this being disconnected, and I think some good mechanisms for coping with that, right? If you're ever in a situation where you've gotten disconnected, right? Like you haven't chosen to be disconnected, but you've gotten disconnected. I think some things to remember are, look back on, one, you can think about how you can get reconnected if that's what you want to do, right? You can focus on your current situation and see what you can do to make the best of it. In the case of Tonga, right? The people there, yes, are disconnected, but they still have access to obviously their medical services, their emergency services, their police. Like the country itself is still functional. They're just not to the outside world. It's hard for them to communicate. So in that situation, yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to suck because they can't get information out. Information's not coming in. They probably can't access their TikToks or Instagram stories or whatever else it may be. But there is always something you can do, right? Maybe they can try to help fix it, right? Or figure out something different. Having spare time, being bored, sort of creates the opportunity for creativity, right? It makes us creative. If we're always busy doing stuff, our minds don't have enough time left for creativity. But when we have some quiet moments, when we can think, especially if there's a problem that we need to solve, and we don't have anything else to do, we can get pretty damn creative. Like as humans, we have the capacity to do that. And some people are more creative than others, but I think we all have some creativity in us, and in the right circumstances, we're able to let that shine. But if you're forced into a situation like that, again, the whole 911 thing, if you do need emergency services, you can always dial 911. If there's any cell tower nearby, your phone will connect. You can always send a text message. I think that's one of the big ones that everyone always talks about. If you're ever stranded, right? If you go hiking or something and get stranded out there, the best thing you can do is to figure out where you are, stay there if you can, right? Because if you move, it's going to be hard for people to find you. But if you need water, whatever, find your source of water, find a place where you can survive, and then stay there. Figure out where that is, right? Your coordinates, whatever it is, your location. Text that to someone, and then turn off your phone to preserve battery. And then, every couple hours, you turn it on to check in, and then you turn it back off. And that way you're preserving battery. People know your location. Hopefully someone is on the way to save you. If you're with the car and you lose service, you can always just turn around, drive back, and you'll get service back. And if you're someone if you're planning on doing that, right? If you're not in that situation, but you're planning on getting disconnected, right? Just do some planning in advance. If you know you're going to go backpacking and there's going to be no cell service, there's going to be nothing, maybe, take some wilderness classes, take some wilderness first aid, some survival classes, whatever it may be. Make sure you pack the right gear. And as a last resort, you can always, there's services out there where you can rent satellite phones. And you can rent a satellite phone for the, couple days you'll be backpacking, throw it in your backpack, and just have it in there for emergencies. We're going to be going to Big Bear just for a couple days to get away. And we were looking at houses in Big Bear. And one of these houses, it was pretty funny. One of these houses, like the first two sentences right of this house, like, whatever, charming house in Big Bear, blah, blah, blah. We do not offer Wi-Fi or any kind of internet service, so you can disconnect and connect with nature. So, like, they're marketing the fact that their house is disconnected as a perk for people to go. Now, for some people, it's probably a turnoff, and for the people I'm going with, that wasn't really going to happen. But for some people, it might be something that they're looking for if they want to take some time not to be on the internet, to I don't know, bond with each other, to bond with nature, whatever it may be. It might be something that they want to do.
All I'm saying is if I was renting out my place as an Airbnb and I didn't want to pay the monthly fee to have internet, I would just say, no internet, please disconnect and be one in nature.
True. I mean, they're doing some really great marketing.
Right? Like, that's good, right? Like, disconnect, be one, go on a hike. You're like, dang, I don't need internet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I might just get an Airbnb and turn off the electricity too. And say, reconnect with nature. Find your inner hunter-gatherer, right? You don't need electricity. Start your own fire. Whatever. Here are some activities you can do without any electricity. You don't need lights. Here are some torches.
That's a great point. I'll buy a plot of land in the middle of the desert out here in California. I'll Airbnb it as a naked and afraid situation. It's like a reverse escape room. You got to build a fire and live. It gets cold. It's a desert.
You got to build yourself a shelter.
Yeah.
And at the end of it,
if they build the shelter, then I'll rent that out after because it's on my property.
No, at the end of it, they have to burn the shelter down.
Oh, some Burning Man shit. Okay.
Exactly.
It's fine.
But yeah, I mean, anything else? I think that's all I had to say as far as being disconnected and this topic goes. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about, Matt?
No, it was all really good. I had a thought about something, but then my brain disconnected, and it was just like,
going back to what we were talking about, the whole cloud thing, and rain and downloading and all that stuff. I read something online the other day, and I thought it was hilarious. So, these two boys when they were young, right? One of them was like using extra virgin olive oil or something, right? And someone made a joke about, why is it called, or not a joke, but someone was like, why is it called extra virgin? And then one of the brothers was like, oh, because no one's had sex with the olives before they were made into olive oil, right? As a joke. So they laugh about it. And this just keeps happening, right? Apparently, they're with the rest of their family, and they just keep making these jokes about all this stuff. And then one day, I think he was saying 7 years later or something, they're at their family's house again, and their mom brings out some extra virgin olive oil, and someone's makes a comment about what kind of olive oil is that. The mom's like, oh, it's extra virgin. Everyone starts giggling, and so these brothers are like, oh, I wonder why everyone's giggling, because they thought it was their thing. So they're like, what are you guys laughing about? They're like, oh, we know that, this olive oil hasn't, no one's had sex with these olives before they were made into olive oil. And these brothers are like, what do you mean? And apparently, so their family believed them, started telling, their family friends about this. And so, their family friends started believing it. So, they, just spread this all this misinformation about why extra virgin olive oil is called extra virgin olive oil. And they're like, it was a joke between two young kids. Why would you guys take that seriously? So they had to sit them down and explain that is not why it's extra virgin olive oil. All right. Thank you all for listening. Stay safe, stay healthy, and prepare for disconnection, or spend some time being disconnected if you'd like. It's our turn to disconnect. Have a good one.